Welcome back to Newsmaker Live. Very shortly, you'll see the number on your screen so you can call in to make your contribution to this show. In fact, we'll put that number up right now so you can call in to ask your questions of the TUF and also make your comments about the current negotiations between the government and the Trade Union Federation representing public sector workers for the most part. Of course, the NWU is working on its own, representing its workers, and it's engaged in its own negotiations. Now, Cyprian, the Police Welfare Association issued a letter dated March 6th to the Trade Union Federation indicating that it had accepted the government's terms of 4% and the benefits and would be going forward with signing that arrangement. Is there a rift between the TUF and the Police Association? Let's take this call and then I'll ask you this question. Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. I wanted to comment on something you said when you compared government's obligation as an employer and the obligation to the rest of society as a government representing everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We need to separate the two. Government as an employer has obligations to its employees, and as such, it has to provide what is needed for the employees to undertake their jobs efficiently. So you cannot compare government's obligations as an employer to that of other people in the private sector. We have to separate the two. In other words, if you are going to do that, you are saying that the materials government has to supply to people to work efficiently, they must also supply that to people in the private sector. That cannot happen. In the private sector, every employee within the private sector they have a right to request of their employers what they need to do their jobs efficiently. And they do that in two ways. One, when they are negotiating the terms of employment, when they are first employed by the company, and two, when they are doing yearly reviews. And the government now, as an employer of the persons of the public service, they have the obligation to meet the needs of these people so that they can work efficiently, not for themselves, but for the general good of everybody within the public service. And everybody generally in the country as a whole.
I take your point.
And that includes you, an employee of a private sector institution.
I take your point. The only issue I have with this point is that government, even though it is an employer, it's using public funds. It's using funds remitted by taxpayers who comprise, both the public and the private sector. So when you're telling me that the concessions, no, we're talking about concessions, and I think I was speaking specifically to this, the concessions, the duty-free concessions that the TUF is requesting of the government, this goes beyond the employer-employee relationship. It goes into the public purse. It dips into the public purse. Go ahead.
Can I interject?
Sure.
The concessions, although I am a government employee and I do not get traveling allowance, I have recognized the fact that many of the traveling officers, they need these concessions so that they can better serve us, the public. And that's what we have to be cognizant of. We mustn't be selfish and look at what's in it for only me, but what's in it for us generally as a country. And although many of us are not traveling officers, there are probably only about 90, I'm not sure how many traveling officers on record.
800 as far as
these 1 minute traveling officers, they require these concessions in order to serve us efficiently. And that's what we need to recognize. And they are taxpayers as well. And you need to know that most of them in the lower paying jobs, the amount of money they make is so minimal that they can barely survive to put gas in their vehicles. And they have to wait a long time. And I know that for a fact, not because I'm not one, I'm going to say that categorically, but the fact that I'm aware of the situation, because some traveling officers have to wait a long time after already expending that money. So if you have to look at the interest on that money that they're going to wait so long to get paid by government, when you look at it, maybe the public sector may need to come in there, the private sector may need to come in there and foot the bill.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution. It's a good point that she made. You have to differentiate or distinguish between government as the employer and government as the government. I still don't agree with the point about the concessions, because you're looking at public money. What the TUF in essence is asking for is for government to use the public money to benefit public servants.
But we have to be careful when we say public money, because the way government raises revenue is through taxes.
Right.
And everybody who is a contributor to the fund is a taxpayer.
Right.
However, there are functions that government must perform. The question is, where do you get the monies from to do so? It must be from the monies that you're actually collecting.
That is all well and
so
good,
it is not the taxpayers' money to suggest, because it's just to suggest that because it's a taxpayers' money, the government should not seek to do what is right for the effective functioning of the delivery of the service.
I am totally with you on that. However, when you're asking government to cut, to forego $20 million that might have been used in a program, a social program that would benefit the entire population, then you have other taxpayers questioning whether it is fair, whether there is a level playing field, and whether public servants are getting a bigger benefit. We have another call on the line. Let's take it and then we'll get your comments. Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Hi,
yes,
good
hello.
evening.
Yeah, Clinton.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I would like to just say something quickly here. This guy is giving the perception that the extra money the workers going to get, it represents an injection into the economy. But look, let's be realistic here for 1 second. Right now, the trend is a lot of people, in fact, everybody, should I say, is trying to save. They want to see that they have other money in their account. You understand? I mean, that's the trend right now. I mean, the Prime Minister just initiated VAT, a few months ago. Now, it takes actually a year to get the direct benefits from VAT. You understand? Right now is not the time for people right now to be asking for a wage increase. That is working against our economy. It is, Clinton. Look at this, eh? People have a lot of kids at school. Kids are coming out from school. They cannot get jobs. You know, you have a whole set of people there, unproductive, I should say, and the public knows what I'm talking about. They're asking for more money. It makes it very difficult for government to expand. We have a lot of problems there right now. You understand? The guy sits down there and is making another excuses on why
his name is
necessary for
Cyprian
increase. You understand? It's kind of pissing me off.
His name is Cyprian Montrop, so if you can refer to him by his name, I'd appreciate that instead of the guy.
That's okay. I can take it.
Is that the end of your contribution, caller? All right, thanks a lot.
Just a quick comment. We, the general public, have to look at beyond. What is he mentioned savings. Most persons are saving. What is the impact of savings and what is the impact of spending? We don't have the social safety net to take care of our elderly or our children's going to higher education and all of those issues. If some individuals decide, yes, I prefer to save my money so that I can give my child a university education, or when I retire, I am in a better position, that would not cause the government too much strain, especially in the health sector, to take care of me. Is there something wrong with those persons saving? And those who choose to spend the money within the economy, would the private sector, who rely on persons coming in and day out to spend the monies in their businesses, would they say that the employees having those money to spend in their businesses is a bad idea? There is a balance. And we as the general public, need to appreciate that for the economy to grow, money must be spent into the economy. And sometimes, whereas you have 800 to 900 traveling officers, hypothetically, if those 800 persons are spending money, they would be spending it over a wide cross-section of the economy that can cause employment in a number of places.
Yeah. We have another call. Good evening. Thanks for holding, caller.
Good night.
Good night.
Mr. Reynolds, I get from hearing you, I get the feeling that public servants are not taxpayers.
You get the feeling that public servants are not...
That's what I'm getting from you, that public servants are not taxpayers.
Why are you getting... Why
tax as before everybody else.
Okay.
So when you say using taxpayers' money, right? Public servants are taxpayers also.
Well, no, that is not. I acknowledge that public servants are taxpayers. However, public servants, there are about 9,500 public servants. Our workforce is what?
About 40.
40,000.
The private workforce you're talking about?
So, say again?
You're talking about the private workforce?
I'm talking about the entire workforce, national
The
workforce.
entire workforce.
It's about
Most
40,000.
of them are not taxable.
They're not.
Yeah,
A lot of the people are not taxable.
You saying most of the 40,000 are not? I would beg to differ that it would not be most of them.
Taxable. A lot of them are not taxable.
Why is that? Because they're making too small of a salary?
Exactly. Exactly. They make
So
less
there
than
you
the
go.
Taxable. Hello?
So there you go.
So when you're talking about taxpayers, civil servants are taxable also, are taxpayers also.
No, I'm not discounting the fact that civil servants are taxpayers. However, I'm saying that there is, from what has been proposed, a discrepancy in between what the civil servants or public servants want to get and what other taxpayers get, you know. But I'm not discounting the public servants' right to demand or to go for what is necessary, because in the economy that we're in right now, everybody needs a little something. Everybody needs some sort of support. Inflation, as you said, and as your president indicated, is rising at a rapid pace. And for us to be able to continue to live comfortably, we all need to make a little bit more money.
Okay.
Yeah? Thanks for that contribution. Appreciate it. We need to take another break on the program. When we come back, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion. We'll talk about the police and their...
Then the NIC pen.
Yes, and their decision to accept the government's offer. Stay with us. We'll be right back.